I'm Chris Voss here at London Harness and TUMI Wellesley in Wellesley, Massachusetts, on location for the WGBH auction. You know, there are just so many great travel packages on this year's auction. We thought we'd share some great travel tips to make your next vacation just a little more enjoyable. Come on in. I'm here with Joe Cali, who's president of Overseas Adventure Travel, the premier sponsor for the WGBH auction. He is a seasoned veteran of travel. He's been to over 40 countries, 49 states, I believe. He's got some great tips on travel. Let's start with some tips on before you leave.
Sure, well, I'd be happy to, Chris. There's a statistic that says that 50% of what Americans pack when they go on vacation, they never actually wear. So the whole key is packing lightly. And how to do that, there's a lot of product on the market that help you do that. For example, the packing cubes is a great way to stay organized. Also helps you with your dirty clothes, keep them away from your clean clothes while you're on a trip. Ziploc bags, I recommend throw 4 or 5 in your suitcase. Gives you a lot of options for wet clothes, for jewelry, for medications, keys, things of that nature. Compression bags, these are vacuum sealed bags that help you keep your clothes wrinkle-free, clean, and also allow you to get 25% more in every suitcase. For women, for the ladies, I'd recommend don't bring a lot of clothes, but accessorize to make your outfits look different. And the best way to do that are scarves and costume jewelry. Do not bring good jewelry. There's no need to. Costume jewelry allows you to have different looks inexpensively. You don't have to worry about losing them or getting them stolen or anything like that. Power banks help you keep your cell phones charged, especially if you're somewhere where, like on our trips on a safari, you're not always going to have access to a outlet, and a power bank helps you charge your phone for up to 8 hours at a time. And finally, the real key is this. After you finish packing, Chris, remove half of what you packed, because you won't need it. And just start with a very light suitcase, because that gives you more options down the road.
Thanks, Joe. That's a good tip, because we're going to throw it to Demian Wendrow, who has a great solution for packing light.
Thank you, Chris. And as Joe mentioned, you want to start off extremely light. We have just one of our options here from Victorinox Swiss Army from the Revolve collection, 6.8 pounds. Basically, we want to utilize the packing cubes and all those accessories which we talked about. They're wonderful. I use them myself. This has 4 shirts inside. You want to fill in you want to utilize the whole suitcase as much as you can. 6 pairs of underwear, rolled up t-shirts, folding up socks, putting them in all of the spots that you can. And lastly, you want to get a toiletry kit that is self-sealing, so you can fit it inside the front of the suitcase, and therefore utilizing every piece of your suitcase. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Demian. Hey, by the way, that great bag is up for bid at this year's WGBH auction. All right, now let's get some handy tips on how to make the most of your adventure and your trip once you get there.
Absolutely, Chris. Few simple tips. Don't cost any money. First of all, get up early, take a walk around the neighborhood that you're in, wherever you're staying for the night. Great way to experience the local culture. Another great way to experience the local culture is try the local foods. Don't go into the chain restaurants, go into a local restaurant, a small diner. Meet the locals, they'll love the fact that you're there, and food is love, as they say, and that's the best way to experience the country that you're in or the state that you're in. Here's another tip that I tell everybody, including my children when they travel. Say yes more often. Say yes to things you might be inclined to say no to. It's a great way to experience things. And when you come back from a trip, it's about the stories. It's not necessarily about the sights that you saw. And when you do that, you'll make the trip much, much more richer. And speaking of richer, that reminds me of my favorite travel quote, which is, travel is the only thing you can buy, Chris, that makes you richer.
I love that. That is great. Now, there are so many great trips up for bid at this year's auction. Your company has one going to an African safari. We're going to learn about that in a little bit, but can you tell us a little bit about this African safari that Overseas Travel Adventures has donated?
I'd be happy to. So Overseas Adventure Travel has several African safaris, but our most popular African safari, and it has been for several years, is our 16-day trip with very intimate 10 to 16 travelers called Ultimate Africa, Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe.
Wow. That sounds amazing. I think I'm going to try to go to that. That sounds great.
I hope you do.
All right, we're going to learn about that and all sorts of other great, fabulous trips up for auction at this year's WGBH auction.